The FNCS Major 1 Summit is this weekend, so today I'll be breaking down all 28 European duos that will be playing in Germany, starting off with Sky and Skrull. Now in my opinion, these guys are the best duo in the world right now. They're the FNCS champions for a reason, and they have virtually no weaknesses to their game. They're great off spawn, they can play high, mid ground, low ground, they can play in the zone, they can play in storm. They are ridiculously good. Their synergy is insane as well. They play together as a unit better than any other duo in the world. Yes, they're not the flashiest team, but they are still very deadly. I mean, take a look at their divisional cup record. For a few of these results, they were contested, which makes it even more impressive, qualifying for 11 out of 11 divisional cup finals in 2026, and their worst placement being a 7th. That is really impressive. Listen, they're landing over at North Battlewood. They have made that spot their home over the past few months. The only issue they're going to have is that Veno and Curve will be landing at South Battlewood, and as we've seen from a recent divisional cup, it could get aggressive between the two duos. Sky and Skrull will want to go about their game without fighting, but it's fair to say that Veno and Curve may have some other ideas. This could mean that Sky and Skrull lose 1 or 2 games off spawn. Could that potentially stop them from winning the whole tournament? It's on the cards, but listen, they are the best duo in the world going into this LAN, and the ceiling is incredibly high. Another European giant that have a great shot of coming away with a win is Vico Malibuca. Now with Vico, you have one of the most explosive, talismanic players in the world. He has been so good over the past few months, and with Malibuca you've got someone with huge experience, a lot of lands under his belt. Listen, these guys should do pretty well. They have been very successful as of late. They came 3rd in FNCS, they've won 2 divisional cups this year, they also qualified for the Esports World Cup LAN, so they are coming into this tournament in very good form. There's a high chance they get the north side of Frigid Fortress uncontested on day 3 for finals, and if they can do that, then they have a real shot of winning. Now before we go any further, let me quickly explain the LAN format to you if you aren't familiar. So there will be 3 days of gameplay at the Summit LAN. Day 1 is the upper bracket. This is the 50 duos that qualified via FNCS. The top 25 duos from this day will skip day 2 and go all the way to the finals on day 3. The bottom 25 duos will have to play the lower bracket on day 2, and that will also contain 25 duos that qualified through the second chance qualifier. The top 25 duos on day 2 will also progress to the finals, giving us a 50 duo lobby on day 3. Now this massively benefits the European duos. We should see way more of them make their way into the finals. I do think that the vast majority of them will make it, so I'm not going to talk too much about day 1 predictions because honestly I do think it's going to be pretty routine. Next up we've got Pixx and Ghost. Now this is a very new team. They formed after FNCS Grands when they both failed to qualify with MrSavage and Tayson respectively, but listen, they gelled very quickly and put in a great performance in the second chance qualifiers. Pixx is an IGL who obviously has great experience, coming 6th at Globals last year, whilst Ghost is a top fighter. He actually plays from Greece on 50 ping, so it's going to be so exciting to see what he can do on flat 0 ping at this LAN. They have to go through the lower bracket, but I don't see them having any issues there. They've got Tip Top Terrace uncontested for now, and if they can get that on-call in finals, which by the way I think there's a good shot of that, then they will do very well. Of course, a lot of the EU Tip Top Terrace teams did not qualify, guys like Synod and Gearas, Twek and Mydro, so there is a real opening at that spot. Focus and Thomas HD will be at the LAN. Now these guys are undoubtedly one of the best duos in EU right now, but they are yet to challenge for that number 1 spot. Focus in particular has been insane since Globals. He's gone from a 60 ping fighter that was regarded well, but by no means seen as one of the best. Now he leads for this duo. He's one of the best fighters in the world. There's nothing he can't do. And Thomas has been great lately too. Can this be the tournament that they break the 2nd place curse? They're likely to have Riptides completely uncontested. There is a chance that another team lands on them, but if they can get that on-com, they have a real route to victory. But if they have their usual luck with zone pools, then they may struggle a bit. Next up, we've got Repairs and Fastroki. Now this is our only field duo so far because Shxrk could not make it to the LAN. Unfortunately, his visa application got declined. It's a shame because they were one of the breakout duos of the year so far. They were very bright, doing really well in the Div Cups and managing a 6th place in their first ever FNCS Grand Finals for both of them, so we won't be seeing them at LAN together. Fastroki is the player that's been called up and he is a great fragger. I think this makes a lot of sense because Repairs will lead, and genuinely, even though these guys have such little experience playing together, the dynamic makes so much sense. I could honestly see them doing really well in the finals. Although, as I'm going to say many more times in this video, it all depends on whether they can get their drop spot uncontested. Akiira and Kurama qualified, coming 1st in the second chance qualifier with 3 out of 6 victory royales. Listen, these guys are, in my opinion, the best French duo in the world. They are, of course, double controller too, which I do like. Side note, but I'm happy that a ton of controller players will be at this LAN. Nice to see that the input is fully back. And what's not to love about these guys? They had a great off-season, doing super well in all the victory cups. Since then, they've also started performing in the high-level set lobby finals as well, winning the penultimate divisional cup of the season. They should boss the lower bracket. The question is, what's going to happen in the finals? It's pretty likely that they're going to land at that south split behind Battlewood Boulevard. Will they get fought by Veno and Curve in a few games? It's likely to happen, but listen, these guys are really good, they're really consistent, and they're definitely going to get at least one win in finals. I'm calling it now. With the Gentlemates fans behind them, it should be a very nice atmosphere, and if they can catch half as many Midas floppers as they did in their divisional cup win, then they're going to be chilling. Noahreyli and Rezon, the Chapter 2 final boss duo. How good is it to see these guys still playing and still performing in the year of 2026? Now listen, they are arguably one of the weaker duos in this lobby, but you'd be a fool to deny their ability. Rezon and Noah both have incredible fighting power, both can put in crazy clutches, especially Rezon. We've seen that so many times. At the last Globals, he was ridiculous when it came to those solo clutches. They are actually uncontested at Pelion Swamp for day one. Very intelligent of them to avoid the chaos going on at Squibbly Shores. More on that later. If they can get a spot on call in finals, then I do think they could do well, purely based on their experience, but by no means do I think they're one of the EU duos that will be challenging for the win. On to Darm Demus and Werex. These guys are very underrated. Some may call them dark horses. Now they represent the new generation of hybrid French teams. Of course, Werex is French, Darm Demus is from Belarus. It's a very interesting mix. I will say I am slightly concerned about Darm Demus's visa. We are yet to receive confirmation that he has been approved for the LAN, so potentially we could see Werex queuing up with a fill, but hopefully things are okay because this duo has huge potential. The only limiting factor for them will be their drop spot. For day one, they're going to the south split behind Battlewood Boulevard, but of course Akiira and Kurama will want that in finals, which may leave them looking for a different spot, which honestly, with how congested this map is going to be a pretty impossible task. If they can't find a good spot uncontested, it could be rough for them, but don't count them out. They do have a lot of quality. And now we can move on to another French team. Unlike the LAN in Lyon, you'll notice that a lot of French players did qualify. It's Izzi and Nociff. Now these guys are very underrated, one of the more unknown duos at the event. Nociff has never made an FNCS Grand Finals, which is just a crazy stat. Just like Darm Demus and Werex, the big limiting factor here is going to be finding a drop spot, but if they can sneak themselves a small little split uncontested, then I could see them putting in a respectable performance. Tjino and Pablo have of course qualified for the LAN. They came second in the FNCS Grand Finals. They haven't actually managed a divisional cup win this year, but they have been very consistent in them anyway with their placements. They are of course some of the best fighters in the world. Tjino had the most eliminations at the last Globals, whilst Pablo is one of the best solo clutchers in World Fortnite. Two teams are on them at Sandy. It looks like they want the left side for themselves. They are willing to split, so we'll have to see how that goes. I do worry that there could be some games where the aggression does spill over, but listen, second FNCS, can they go one better at this LAN? It could be on the cards. Vadeal and Juu. Now this is a very new duo. They qualified through a second chance qualifier. Vadeal of course has huge LAN experience, which will really help this team. They're not one of the best duos by any means, but they're certainly capable of a big performance and genuinely could be considered as dark horses. Watch out for them. We'll be seeing Nebs Nxthan in Germany too. Now of course these guys won the final divisional cup before the LAN, so they're in great form. They're not the flashiest team in the world, but they quietly go about their business, playing a very simple, fundamental version of Fortnite. They are one of only two full UK duos at this LAN. They are likely to be contested at Humble Hills by Muzz and Sphinx, which could be an issue because that will more than likely continue into the finals as well, which could really limit their performance. So yeah, I'm not holding out hope for a high finish, but one thing that I can guarantee is that when they do get off spawn, they will make every game count. Next up, we've got Syaaz and Scaryy, the only Spanish duo at this LAN. Again, another double controller team. Great to see. They of course came 9th in FNCS. They were actually 3rd after day one, so a really impressive performance from them in both of their first ever FNCS Grand Finals as well. This will be a huge test, but I have been impressed with what I've seen. They had a great off season, leading the charge for what I like to call the next generation of Spanish Fortnite talent. There's a really good chance they get their split uncontested in finals as well, so honestly a very high ceiling here. We'll be seeing PodaSai and Seyyto in the lower bracket. They formed after PodaSai and Acer split after a very disappointing FNCS campaign. They were a team that I fully expected to make the Summit LAN, but they were unable to do so. Seyyto is obviously a really talented fighter, and PodaSai has a lot of experience. They're not a duo that really challenges for tournament wins that often, but they are still really good for a high placement. They should pretty easily make finals, but honestly I do think they'll be contested on day 3. We'll have to see how that develops though. Now perhaps this is the team you clicked on the video for. We are going to talk about MrSavage and Velo. Now against all the odds they were able to qualify. They were dumped out of FNCS in the heats, but they came back in the second chance qualifiers to book their tickets to Düsseldorf. Their dynamic works really well. Savage is the IGL whilst Velo plays a support fragger role, which has just been going great over the past few months. Yes, the vibes can sometimes be a little bit shaky. They have good days and bad days, but you can't deny that they have passion for the game and they will leave everything out there on the day. They only have one shot to make finals as they have to go through the lower bracket. If they are contested over at Squibbly Shores, then that could be a bit of a problem, but realistically they only need 2 strong games to get enough points for top 25. The big problem will arise if they qualify for day 3, because we will likely have Peterbottom, Poyo and Clicks and Higgs both landing over at Squibbly Shores, so Savage and Velo may be hunting for a new drop spot the night before the games start. But look, these guys do have a lot of quality. They've qualified for 7 out of the 7 divisional cup finals that they've queued for since forming as a duo. Of course they defied the odds to make it to this point. Have they got any more tricks left up their sleeve? Let's talk about IDrop and Marius. Now these guys have been a bit underwhelming since forming as a team. On paper they should be really good. Marius came second at Globals whilst IDrop had the second most eliminations at Globals. They're both perennial grand finals players and they finally came to life in the most recent divisional cup, securing a 5th place finish, but before then it's just been really poor. They had one cup where they lost every single game off spawn to PodaSai and Seyyto, came in 50th place with 0 points, which was just not the sort of thing we'd expect from them. Even yesterday they got 3-0'd in scrims by PodaSai and Coach Fox, which isn't even a real duo. Does not say a lot about IDrop and Marius' spawn fighting ability. They're likely to be contested in these finals as well. It probably will be by PodaSai and Seyyto, so I do worry that both of these teams may cancel each other out. Whether they're contested or not, I've honestly seen very little to suggest that they can put in a good performance at this LAN. They're not exactly at the top of my pile for European teams. Yes, they do have quality. Yes, they could turn it around, but I do think there's a lot of other duos that are better. Let's discuss Darm and Demus, the breakout stars of last year. They've been really solid together, especially this season. They won the first divisional cup. They also managed to win the EWC qualifier 3, so they have been showing a lot of their ability. Yes, the consistency could be better. They do have a few tournaments where they don't quite show what they're made of, but the form is good and I am happy with the place they're in coming into Globals. They also have a drop spot locked down for day 1. That could change come finals. If you did miss the most recent FNCS Grands, they managed a 7th place finish whilst not even having a steady drop spot. They were landing some games at Tip Top Terrace, some games at 4 Fields, and could they repeat that strategy in Grand Finals? It's certainly on the cards. We know that Cold and Rapid aren't the strongest spawn fighting team, so it might make sense for Darm and Demus to pull up at 4 Fields in a couple of games. Listen, these guys are very underrated. They're not being spoken about as a team that could win, but I genuinely think that if they have the right drop spot situation, they are very much capable of a first place. Now there's only one other full Polish duo at this LAN, and that is of course Cr1nge and Charyy. They came 4th at Globals alongside IDrop, but they have been pretty quiet of late. By no means have they been bad. They've still been putting in performances, but they haven't really been challenging for those top 3s, for those first places, and that was demonstrated by their 14th place finish in FNCS. They did do well in the most recent EWC qualifier, coming 2nd to secure their spot at LAN. Prior to that, during season 1, they spent a lot of their divisional cups contesting IDrop and Marius over at Squibbly Shores, and it's fair to say that that chapter has been fully shut. Cr1nge and Charyy now choosing to land over at the Lighthouse. Can they do well in this tournament? I do think it is on the cards. Cr1nge of course has an insane LAN boost. He literally has 4 LAN wins. I mean, that's insane. I honestly might be forgetting some. It's 4 that I can remember off the top of my head, and Charyy is one of the most underrated pros in World Fortnite, so these guys can definitely put in a performance at LAN. Do not rule them out by any means. There's even more French duos to discuss because we had SkyJump and Momsy qualify. Now they missed out on qualification during the FNCS Grand Finals. They came in 21st place, needing to finish inside the top 20, but they made no mistakes in the second chance qualifiers, securing their passage to Germany. Both of these guys will be playing their first ever major Fortnite LAN. I could see these guys doing well. It does depend on how their drop spot plays out. If Yuma and Coyote qualify for finals, then they may end up being contested. Could they potentially split it? It does remain to be seen, but for now we don't really know what their situation is going to be like. Now let's get into another francophone duo that have one controller player and one KBM player, and that is Darkos and Minori. They are the team that narrowly beat out SkyJump and Momsy SwizzY in that FNCS Grand Finals, finishing in 20th place. Both very underrated players. If we're honest, they're unlikely to seriously challenge from Builders Barracks, but I could see them putting in a respectable performance. With 2 days to secure qualification, they should very easily make finals, and honestly, they could surprise a few people. Next up, we've got Cr1nge and Volko, the mid-map merchants. They've been a little bit up and down, but they do have a fair few Divisional Cup top 10s to their name. The issue they're going to have during this LAN is that Visuals and Braid and Aminish and Harvey are both landing in that mid-map area, and let's just say they are two duos that will be quite friendly with each other. Aminish, of course, played with Visuals and Braid at the last Globals. This could potentially spell disaster for Cr1nge and Volko. There is a chance they drop to the lower bracket, which if they do, they should pretty easily make their way out of it. But coming into finals, if Aminish and Harvey and Visuals and Braid are both there, then I do think that really hampers their chances of doing well. Japko and Panzer made it. Now these guys have a lot of quality, but they are honestly one of the most inconsistent duos on the entire region. On their day, they're absolutely world class. They won a Divisional Cup this year, they've come second in an EWC qualifier, but they can never stay good for long. It does feel like their performances are just too all over the place. Now Panzer has improved a lot since playing with Savage and Mongrel, and Japko has established himself as a tier 1 since returning from NA, so definitely don't count these guys out. They're currently contested for day 1 by a Brazil duo, but could they get painted palms uncontested for the finals? That's definitely on the cards, and if they can manage that, then a top 10 finish is very, very doable. For the past few months, it's been impossible to know when their next big performance is going to happen. Could it be in Düsseldorf? SwizzY and Pixie are a duo that should have done way better over the past few months. They still don't have any Divisional Cup wins, a low FNCS placement after being surprise contested on day 1. Yes, they did qualify for the EWC LAN in the most recent qualifier, which was solid, but honestly, they've just not shown enough. In the most recent Divisional Cup, they finished 27th with uncontested Dark Dominion and very favourable zones, and it feels like if they can't capitalise on that opportunity, then what signs do we have that they're going to do well at Globals? I mean, look, we're still talking about SwizzY and Pixie here. SwizzY is one of the best all-round players in the world, and Pixie was my personal player of the year last year, an incredible fighter, so things could click in Germany, but it's fair to say that they are arriving in middling form. There is also a slim chance that SwizzY has some visa issues. We do not yet have confirmation that he will be going to the LAN. I really hope he makes it, otherwise it looks like Pixie may have to pick up a backup player. Another team that has struggled lately is Chap and Flickzy. Now in their first month or two after forming, they were looking really good. Genuinely, it seemed like they were going to be one of the best teams on the region, and it has not played out like that at all. They don't have a single Divisional Cup win, they're not qualified for the Esports World Cup LAN. It hasn't been great at all. Their placements have been well below expectations. Now playing on LAN could potentially benefit them. A lot of teams have spoken about how the EU lobbies are actually harder than the Globals lobbies because there's more good teams, and I'm not saying that's true, I'm not confirming or denying that, but it could be something that helps Chap and Flickzy. Of course, they have huge LAN experience as well. Could they turn it around in Germany at their home LAN? It's on the cards. Now another team that will be very comfortable in Germany is of course JannisZ Cheetiin. Now they qualified through FNCS with some favourable zones, but they did perform very well. They are contested for the upper bracket though, so there is a chance they may have to drop to the lower one, but I don't see a world in which they don't make finals. JannisZ is of course a 4 times FNCS champion who came 15th at Globals in 2024 with Pixie. Cheetiin of course managed 4th at Globals in 2023, also with Pixie, so they've got great LAN experience. They're not one of the best EU duos by any means, but don't rule them out. They could sneak in a very good performance. Let's move on to Cr1nge and Twi. Now in my opinion, these guys are the best UK duo in the world right now. Cr1nge was insanely good during the off season with Velo, earning in practically every Victory Cup. Since then he's continued that form with Twi, and they're looking good at the highest level, playing great in set lobby finals, and they proved that with an 8th place in FNCS. They really like their mid-map split. They've got it uncontested for day 1. I don't think it's unreasonable that they could get it uncon for day 3 as well. If that is the case, then they have a very high ceiling. A duo that will be starting in the lower bracket is Belusi and Zangi, the only Italian team at this LAN. No Prodage, no Rax, but these guys were able to qualify. They're comfortable landing at both Painted Palms and Battlewood Boulevard, but because both spots will be very congested, it's unlikely we will see them there. They are instead landing at the Cr1nge split for the lower bracket, and well, they probably won't want to land there for the finals. If they do qualify, that could potentially spell the the end for Cr1nge Twi if both of these teams fight each other. I don't see that happening. I think Belusi and Zangi will make day 3, but they will have to hunt for a new drop spot, and potentially that could be a huge limiting factor. I'm not sure I can see them doing too well in finals. Now, I've deliberately saved one team for the end of the video, but of course I have to give an honourable mention to Veno and Curve because they are still 50% EU, even if they are the NA Central FNCS champions. They will easily make grands and they are a real contender to win. It was a spectacle watching Veno run down those lobbies during FNCS, and he is someone that has consistently advocated that EU grand finals are harder than globals. So will he try to run things down again? It could be on the cards. I do think their neighbours Sky and Skrull have the better path to victory, but both of them have a real chance of coming in first. So I've discussed 27 duos plus one honourable mention, and that only leaves one team. It is my pick to win the whole tournament based on the information that we have now. Of course, that's Shxrk and T3eny. Now, these guys are maybe the most exciting duo in all of Europe right now. Over the past few months, Shxrk has evolved from being the biggest prospect in the region to literally being one of the best players on the region. It's been an incredible rise to the top. Shxrk is one of the best fraggers in the world. He plays from 30 plus ping in Romania, so it's going to be incredible to see what he can do on flat 0 at this LAN. Credit to T3eny too, one of the most underrated IGLs in the entire world. Yes, he struggled a little bit in 2025, but that's clearly not reflective of his ability. I do genuinely think he is a top 5 player in the world right now. Everything he's been doing lately has been working so well. His IGLing, his lurks, his style of play. This is the reason why Shxrk and T3eny have been performing so well. Now listen, the big question is, are they going to be contested in finals? Right now, I'm predicting that they won't be. I know there's an NA West team on them for day 1, but I don't think that's going to be an issue by day 3. The question is, are Clix and Higgs going to return to Wonky Land? That could be on the cards, but what I will say, what I can guarantee is that if Shxrk and T3eny have Wonky Land uncontested for 8 out of 8 games in finals, they are the favourites to win. I do believe it is that simple. And listen, even if they are contested for a few games, I don't think it's the end of the world. Shxrk and T3eny are ridiculously good off spawn. They'll obliterate basically any duo that lands on them. We saw that in the legendary spawn fights versus Hutty and Fishx. Shxrk and T3eny were consistently the duo that got the better of them. If Clix and Higgs try to come, I don't think it's going to end well for them if we're being 100% honest. With Sky and Skrull suffering from the Veno and Curve question mark over at Battlewood Boulevard, these guys are the favourites. I know Shxrk doesn't have a lot of LAN experience, but I don't see that being a factor. They are my pick based on the information that we have right now to win the Summit LAN. Now, I'll be making videos after each day of the Summit LAN to keep you guys up to date on what's going on, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those. You may have noticed that a lot of big European names were not in this list, and if you want to know who did not make the Summit LAN, then watch the video on screen now.